Amateur players take their game to the next level.
There's no crying in baseball.
Forget about the curveball, Ricky. Give him the heater.
You're killing me, Schmalz.
Candlesticks always make a nice wedding present.
Oh, people take vacations shorter than that. Pick me out a winner, Bobby.
Now here is your show and go team.
What is that, nightly news or something like that?
I guess.
Damn right.
Welcome to ABC Nightly News with Tim Dillard.
Yes.
Welcome to Show and Go. It's a baseball podcast geared towards amateur players reaching the next level. We're here to educate and help all we can. I'm Tim Dillard, professional baseball player for the last 15 or 16 years, something like that.
A long time.
A long time. And to my left is some guy named Ben Zobrist. Hi, Ben.
Yeah, hi. Hi, Tim. I've played baseball for a number of years
really?
as well. I can't remember the number, but I'm still playing.
Yeah.
But I've played over 10 years in the major leagues. I'm currently with the Chicago Cubs. I've won 2 World Series, and I've been an All-Star 3 times. So I've had a blessed career. But you know, what are you going to say about that?
You got to turn the page.
Turn the page. Okay, thank you. To my left, I will turn the page to Josh Costello, who's been my trainer and the trainer for many major league players in the Nashville area for the last 10 years. Josh, take it away.
How you doing? We're doing another intro?
No, it's just quick.
Small intro. Small intro.
Just turn the page.
Episode intro.
Talk about yourself for a second.
30-second bio.
Tell everyone about the chili cook-off.
Let's do that after the intro. That'll be good.
He's speechless. Josh Costello over here. He is a trainer. He talks occasionally, but not very often.
Confused occasionally.
I thought we did the intro already.
This is a quick one.
We're doing a quick intro.
We're doing a quick intro.
30 seconds. Boom.
Oh, okay.
This time's up.
He threw it to me.
You throw it to you.
Threw it to you.
Sorry, I didn't know what we were doing.
All right.
Okay, I'm back.
Hey!
Josh Costello, here
How's
we
it
are.
going?
I'm leaving all that in there.
Good to see you,
I'm
Josh.
editing
Awesome.
that
This is great.
Welcome to the show.
Thank
man.
you.
Long-time listener, first-time caller.
Yes. Yeah, I train locally here, train athletes, a lot of baseball, but a lot of different sports. I've been doing that for about 10 years, 11 years.
Nashville.
In the Franklin area.
Franklin.
At a place called Chadwick's Fitness and Performance. Is that
Awesome.
Good? Is that good?
That sounds
perfect.
great. That's great.
Okay.
Now
Well done,
turn.
Josh.
Yeah. Hand it off.
Will you introduce me?
To my left is Coach Ryan Schmalz.
Yeah, so I'm the head baseball coach at Trevecca Nazarene University. Been
Coach.
here for the past 5 years. Headed into my 6th. We won a lot of ball games, 5 straight conference championships.
Dang.
A couple tournament titles in there. Yeah, so that's here in our school located here in downtown Nashville, and I had a chance to know these guys around the table for the past couple years, and excited to talk some baseball today.
Are you recruiting right now?
Yeah, I sort
bit.
of got into recruiting mode a little bit right there.
That's all right. I'm in.
Yeah.
Just tell me if you've ever had anybody drafted. That's all I care about.
Yes, we have. We have had some
okay.
guys.
Hey, who's
drafted
that guy, that third baseman, right?
Yeah.
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 Is he still playing?
He's not. He had a couple of injuries and got
right.
released about, I guess, partway through last season. He got released. So, yeah. No
Well,
longer.
that
I'm no
was
longer
a bummer.
Sorry. Yeah. How's he doing? Oh, no, he's not here anymore.
Yeah, sorry, Hunter.
So, Coach, this is when you take the reins.
Bang the gong. What are we doing today? What's the topic?
I thought we'd talk a little bit about pregame routine today. You know, what we do, what you guys do to get ready for a game. I think for younger players, at least I see this a lot with kids coming out of high school.
Red Bull.
Yeah, a lot of Red Bulls and Rippets and energy drinks that they take, but some inconsistencies in getting themselves ready to play. You know, everybody has a lot going on in their lives, a lot of distractions, that they can bring to the park with them. So to get your body and your mind ready to play at a high level consistently, it sounds simple, but it's not. It's a challenge. I think that there's a lot of inconsistencies in players' performance, and I think that you can make a correlation to their inconsistencies in their performance to their inconsistencies in their routines.
Yeah, preparation.
At least I see that, and I'm really excited to get your guys' take on that. I think a lot of baseball players are notorious for superstitions and, kind of looking for that magic dust, if they put on their left sock first every
The
day.
magic dust is Gold Bond medicated powder. I'm kidding.
We got to get
Don't try that. Don't try that. Yeah. You might get burnt.
Yeah, so I'd be curious to, what do you guys do? Zoe and Dim, what do you guys do to it's at Dim Tillard, by the way. To get ready to play, what kind of routine do you guys go through, and why is it important?
My routine before coming here today was I wrote down an intro and printed it off my computer, and we didn't use it, so I wasn't that prepared. Baseball, I've been doing it for a long time. It's a little bit easier on what I know I need to do because I've tried stuff that didn't work and I've tried stuff that did work. Not in a superstitious way, but in a way that when I'm out there on the field, I've known throughout the day that I have prepared myself for that moment. So when I'm in it, I know that I'm as ready as I can be. The last thing you want to do is to take that field going, this seems strange, I'm a little off. To me, that's the nightmare. But if you prepare, you can stay focused and you can execute.
Has that happened early in your career?
What's that?
Has that
Not
happened?
being prepared?
Where you take the mound and you're like, oh crap.
Yeah, there's been time. This happened last year. I was told, man, there's no way you're getting in this game. And sometimes coaches do that, and then something amazingly unbelievable happens and you're thrown into the game. But I'm a bullpen pitcher, so I'm sitting down there just shooting the breeze. And we just put a pitcher in the game. He's supposed to throw 4 innings. So this is like the 3rd inning. Starter came out for some reason, and they got a guy that's long relief, going to go 4 innings. I was like, time for an ice cream sandwich. It was July. I think that, I'm allowed to eat an ice cream sandwich. So I started eating it, and the guy walked the bases loaded, and then the pitching coach goes to the mound to talk to him, and it turns out he blew his fingernail up. Like a 2-seam he was throwing was blowing his fingernail up. He was bleeding, so they took him out of the game. Well, who they put in? They put in me. They put in Tim Dillard with ice cream sandwich in his beard. So I didn't even know where my glove was. I was caught off guard. And I'm like, this can't happen. I've been playing baseball for way too long for this to happen, but it happened. And I run out there and I'm licking ice cream off my hands, foreign substance. Thought I was about to get kicked out of this game and suspended.
First ever person to get suspended for ice cream on
so
their
I'm out
fingers.
there, and the manager's like looking at me funny, and I'm like, did I take my jacket off? I don't, So I get out there, and I literally had crumbs in my beard. Third baseman was like, dude, you got something in your beard. I was like, oh, man. So anyway, I ended up doing well. And I didn't give up the guy's runs, and I'm very proud of that moment. But that moment shouldn't have happened. I should have been more prepared than that.
Wait, so being superstitious, does that mean you ate an ice cream sandwich right before the next game, too?
Yeah, no, I didn't. I didn't have another ice cream sandwich since. I'm on it.
Wow, that's a shame.
Yeah, they're delicious. No, they're health conscious, so it was Skinny Cow. Skinny Cow ice cream sandwich.
Yeah, so there's the free Skinny Cow ad.
Yeah,
people. We'll take some free ice
cream. I bet people are rushing to go buy Skinny Cow ice cream sandwiches.
So basically,
what do you guys though?
What I hear you saying is that it's a 24-hour day thing. Like the preparation for that day.
Yeah.
It starts way before.
I think of it as a pyramid. You start out, you wake up, it's the bottom part of the pyramid. It's talking about hydration, getting your stuff together before you go to the field. Make sure your equipment's ready. You don't want to get out there and your gloves been ripped. Something like that. And then it just goes to the top of the pyramid to when you're supposed to run out there, and that's when you lock it in. And the whole day has been geared towards that moment. And when you get out there, to me, that breeds confidence. You may go out there and feel terrible, but you know that you've prepared, and this is the best you can be at that moment. So you have confidence in that.
Yeah, I think in the professional baseball ranks, it's a little bit easier because the whole day can be focused on that. You don't really have school. You don't have other priorities that you have to deal with earlier in the day. We have families, so when our families are in town, we're playing with our kids and we're taking our families to do things that we need to and running errands and things like that at times. But still, there's a level of preparation that we're thinking about from the time we wake up, which is, like you said, it starts the night before. You're getting a good night's rest, and you're getting up and you're getting a good breakfast. You're getting hydrated. You're watching what you're eating throughout the day, and if you need to take a nap, you'll plan that as part of your day.
You
because
take a nap?
Occasionally.
My bad. I'm just asking.
And you don't have to because, you'll sleep till noon, right?
Well, I drink way too much coffee. My pregame routine, drink coffee.
And there's a lot of guys that do that. But I guess where I would like to talk about my pregame routine is basically a couple hours before the game, because I think that's where a lot of people start. They're driving to the game, or they're riding the team bus, or they get out of
school. They get out of school.
Yeah, they get
right?
out of school
and
they're going to the game. And even in college, a lot of times it starts a few hours before the game when you're really doing stuff. So for me, like what I want to talk about is just the fact that I have to eat a little something, but I don't want to eat something too heavy. Right. So after BP, I'm going in, I'm grabbing a little bit of food, something light, but something that I know is going to give me some carbs, give me some
biscuits and
energy.
gravy.
So a little bit of sugar is going to be in there. I'll usually have some sort of shake or something like that. But then I really have to think about the fact that I need to sit down for 20 or 30 minutes. If I want to immediately jump back up and go into the cage, like that's not going to be good for me. It's not going to be good for my stomach, my body, everything else. I need to just kind of let it sit. And during that 20, 30 minutes, I'm really trying to mentally relax, like calm everything down, not think about the game, not think about too much else. Some guys.
How do you do that? I mean, because that could be different from one person to the next.
Sure.
Mentally relaxing.
Guys do it different ways.
You're sitting at your locker in a baseball clubhouse, and you're trying to think about baseball.
Yeah, but that's what we do.
I find that's funny.
Honestly,
I like it.
you understand that, right? Guys are in there listening to music, watching a show.
Absolutely. Doing videos.
Reading a magazine.
We do videos.
Doing videos, like goofing around, stuff like that. Whatever
what's
you
the
can
goal
do.
of that? Like 20, 30 minutes. What is your goal while you're letting your food settle before you start doing something physical? Mentally, what is your goal?
The purpose is to let your mind relax. Let your mind relax and let everything calm down, because your nervous system, your body, your brain are amped up. They're thinking about the fact that I'm about to have to go to perform at my highest peak, right? And your body and your mind already know that ahead of time. So 2 hours before the game, when you want to get some food in your belly and then you need to relax, you got to try to. So some guys do like meditation. They'll go and just lay down, close their eyes, take a little nap. Obviously setting alarm. If they have the ability to do that, they'll do that. But I know some people in the car and you're on the way to a game or in the bus, like that's a good time to do that. I think, just to relax and get your mind. A lot of coaches are like, get focused on the game. You're goofing around. Like Joe Madden's the opposite. He's like, hey, look, you need to have time to like get your mind off of what you're about to have to do, because you're going to have to recruit a lot of brain power in that moment when you need to focus.
It's distraction. You have to be distracted. If you are locked in all day before the game, all through the game, man, that is mentally straining. I mean, it is. And it stresses you out.
Oh, yeah.
So when I'm in the bullpen, I try to distract guys in a way from the game. We're watching the game. If anybody from the Brewers is listening, we pay attention in a relaxed environment. Because if you try to be locked in, I've done that. It does not work. Yeah. Some people think that will help them, and really you need to do the opposite. And that's why I coined the phrase "do less." And that plays here.
Well, the other end of the spectrum, I'm sure there's guys that meditate, close their eyes, try to clear their mind. But I bet there's other guys that are, headphones on, dancing around,
Metallica.
Singing,
and that's their way of some guys will sit and just talk the whole time.
Yeah.
They're just talking on the phone, or they're talking to a buddy on the team, or they're chatting about this or that. It's like, it's just, they're sitting around relaxing in that moment. But then they have that clock in the back of their head that they know what time the game starts. You have to know what time the game starts, because you need to know exactly to the minute how much time you need to get your body and mind into amped up, ready to go first pitch mode. Okay? And that is a gradual process. That's not something you can just jump into. Oh, it's 15 minutes from the game. I'm just going to go, boom. My body and mind are ready to go. Like at least 30 minutes before, I'm totally dressed. I have a routine in the way that I get dressed even. The way I get everything on, I want to feel like, okay, I'm all put together. I've got everything I need for the game.
Yeah.
And then I'm walking down the tunnel to where I start my stretch, and I set my stuff down in the same spot. It's the same time. I know when the game, and I start my stretch routine, and I know exactly what I'm trying to do. I know what my body needs to feel like, or even if it doesn't feel great that day, that stretch gives me the chance to feel my body, because that's one of the things as players we have to start to do even at a young age is feel your body. What's going well? Like, what do you feel good with? What doesn't feel so good? Because you're going to have to play at times when you feel great and times when you don't feel great. but you need to at least know where your body's at.
Yeah.
You know,
Kos, I want to hear your take on that. But real quick, I think that if an amateur player is listening to this, never fails. Like we'll have a freshman waiting to get on the bus, and they're scrambling from class. They're trying to throw their uniform in their bag and pack at the last second. You know, it's like chaos. It's like a mad dash to make it to the bus on time because they haven't planned for this in advance. You know, they haven't thought about their routine. They hadn't thought about getting their stuff together to, you know, when they're gonna do that, when they're gonna get to the fields. And it's like their mind is in a chaotic state from the time they get to the locker room to the time the game starts. They've never taken that 20, 30 minutes to kind of clear away the clutter.
Does that bother you? As their coach, are you going to put that guy in?
Well,
games on the line.
You know, a lot of times I just kind of see the effects of it. You know, when we talk about, you know, creating a routine and, you know, and getting yourself ready to play, because I'm not following them around, you know, and
cracking the whip.
You know, I'm trying to get myself ready.
Yeah.
You know, ready also. And you know, I don't see that, but I do see the effects of it. And you kind of look in somebody's eyes, and you can tell just what kind of mind space they're in at that time. But, you know, what about the physical side, Kos?
Yeah, I know most people know the foam roller by now. That's a great tool to use for soft tissue. You know, a lot of guys will use that before a game. Definitely recommend starting there. And then based on what your limitations are, like Ben mentioned, he knows his body through, you know, just paying attention and working with a lot of people. And so he's able to work on, he'll do some specific exercises every time. That's what he's referring to, is he'll have a whole series of things to do. Whatever your issues are, I think it's good to just kind of work on them a little bit and just to kind of prime your body and getting it ready. And then
tell them what the foam roll is doing for them, though.
The foam rolling, it's going to hurt on certain areas that, you know, you're tender on. But if you haven't done that, there's tons of videos on YouTube. You can just check it out. It's not really that hard to do.
What about like on supplements?
Yeah.
What age? Or do you even suggest supplements? Ben, are you on something?
On something?
Yeah, like protein
supplements
or creatine. Yeah, like things have changed since I was.
Well, I mean, there's drinks that we get before and after workout that have proteins and supplements and things like that in it. But the only thing that we're allowed to have in our bodies ever is anything that's NSF approved. There's a little NSF with a circle around it on some of these supplements. And those are the tightest restricted vitamins and supplements that you can take out there. And it's going to, if you only take stuff like that, those things have all been tested to not ever have any banned substances in them.
Yeah, no, I understand that. I just started taking like a protein thing because I took it from the field.
Yeah.
They give it to us at the end of the year.
Yeah.
But when would you start telling kids, like what age, hey, this can help you after a game, before a game?
Yeah, I mean, before a game, if you didn't eat anything that day, like if you're a student, you definitely want to eat something. You know, not something large, but something small before the game.
Granola bar.
But not within 30 minutes of the game.
No.
It's got to be before that.
Yeah, good 2 hours, hour and a half or so. But in regards to like caffeine, I know there's been some rules on that with the NCAA maybe.
Yeah, there's just really high amounts of caffeine.
Okay.
You know, I mean,
Yeah.
a couple cups of coffee isn't going to, you know, flag a test.
If you're going to use coffee or something like that, I would recommend doing that, you know, closer to game time, not when you get to the field.
What do you think about the energy drinks?
Oh man, you know, if that's all you got, you know, some of the energy drinks just have way too much sugar, so it's just a double whammy.
We had a catcher from Venezuela, and I asked him one time in an interview, I was interviewing guys in the clubhouse, I was like, well, how many Red Bulls do you have a day? And he's like, I don't know, like 4? I was like, you drink 4? How's your heart doing, buddy?
Well, there's stuff in a lot of those energy drinks, and I've talked to the nutritionist about this because she would way rather have us take something, you know, have coffee than have a new one of those energy drinks, because they have so many chemicals and things that there's just not enough research done on them yet. And especially I think for young kids, if it was my kid, I would not be letting my kid have any of those energy drinks until they're at least in college, you know, personally, just because, and by then he's making his own decisions anyways, but there's just too much stuff in there. I mean, I'm a man, a professional athlete, and I won't even drink them anymore. Yeah. Because I know there's other stuff I can use that's safer for me.
Coffee, I like coffee. Just keep it simple. It's going to have around 80 milligrams or so. A cup is what they say. So, you know, having a cup before the game, doesn't have to be hot, it could be cold, whatever. That just keeps it a little bit safer instead of buying something with all the extra fake things. Just to keep it simple. But you just got to figure it out as you go. But going back to like the physical stuff, I recommend that the foam rolling, just to open up the fascia of the muscle, 5 to 8 minutes. There's a lot of different ways. And whenever you find that tender spot, just stay in that spot for a little bit. I know a lot of guys will get that tennis ball or lacrosse ball, and the key word they use is trigger point, opening up that on some spots that are a little tender. Just be careful with that. You don't want to like sit on that one spot for 10 minutes because you won't be feeling good for that game. You know, honestly, like 10 seconds, 30 seconds, and then move it to another spot. You're not wanting to do a shoulder care program before the game either, but whether you're a pitcher or a position player, definitely recommend doing some type of shoulder care, just like a quick little round just to activate before you throw. I'm a big fan of that. Obviously, we see pitchers do that a lot. They'll do that, but I think position players need to do that as well. It's just great for activating that muscle, getting ready, the rotator cuff and the scap.
I want to go play catch.
So physically, I want to say this, that I think physically that it's really important for kids to just think about the idea of getting your blood flowing. So you're going to have to jumping jacks, run in place. If you have nowhere to go, those are the things to do. But if you can run around the field once or do something to get some blood going in your system. But then thinking about mobility, stretching, obviously that's something that kids need to do more of these days. They don't feel like they need it, and then they get injured and things. I mean, mobility and getting your blood flowing and those types of things are absolutely essential to minimum injury and maximum performance. Like, you can't just show up even though you feel like you're loose and just do it over and over and over and go. You can't do it over and over again. You've got to find, especially as many games as some of these kids are playing now. Yeah. You've got to find a good routine to stretch and take care of it. And I would say this too, that once physically you get your body going and you feel like you're starting to sweat and you're ready to go, you're loose, you feel mobile, that is when the brain needs to start getting amped. Yeah. Okay? Because that's when, like, for me, the mental side of things doesn't usually really kick in until I get the physical body going. Because if I get the mental side of things going and I'm sitting and I'm not doing anything physically, that creates anxiety. And my heart rate goes up, but my body isn't doing anything. That gives me anxiety as a player. So I need to let my physical body lead the way in regard to getting my mental preparation going.
And I think a great tool to bring both those together is, let's say it is foam rolling. You get to the park, you know that you have to let go of your personal life. All the things that were weighing you down that day or that week or that month. And when you walk through the gate, you want to be able to just leave it behind the gate. And a good tool is to do some of those stretches that you need to do by yourself, somewhere in the corner, and just spend that time as you're opening up your body to just let your mind rest and kind of come down. I'm a big fan of that. A lot of guys will do that even in the off season when they train with me. They'll get on the turf and they're kind of like off by themselves. They're just kind of rolling out and just letting their mind kind of get ready for, the 2-hour workout that they're about to do.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. So what would you guys what would you do different, I guess, is a good way of phrasing it. If you could go back to your high school days, your college days, what would you do different? If you could do it over again, with regard to just your pregame routine, what would you do different if you could go back in time, Cos?
I think you're going to have to ask someone else first that question.
If I go back in time, I'd take state.
No, I have something specific because, I've thought about this a lot because I've changed a lot over the years. The thing that I would go back and tell my younger self in high school or college is to really focus on how you feel and what makes you personally feel confident going into the game. And stop thinking and worrying about what everybody else thinks of what you're doing before the game. We spent so much time when I was a kid. I remember just feeling like, does the coach think this is okay? Or do my teammates think this is okay? Or do the fans, what are they thinking of the way that I'm stretching right now or I'm doing this or that? And like the bottom line is now I don't care at all what anybody thinks because I know what I need to do to feel right, because what's really going to matter is not how I look when I'm stretching and how I look before the game, but what happens when I step on the field and I'm playing the game. That's what everybody's going to remember that day, not what you did to stretch before the game.
I think that's awesome. What I would tell somebody is to just what you said, to take ownership of your own preparation. Mm-hmm. What I see is a lot of young players, kind of relying on their coaches or somebody else to get them ready to play. The coaches is going to give you the rough structure, right? The BP, what time to stretch, we're going to take in and out at this time, maybe some pregame sprints. It's just kind of a cookie cutter routine. Well, that's just the basics. Guys need to take ownership of what they particularly need to do themselves to get ready to play. Don't rely on anybody else. Just like Zoe said, what makes you feel confident? Yeah. What gets you, and it's different for everybody. Some guys need to amp themselves up because they're real laid back personally, their personality is. Other guys are too jacked up. They need to calm themselves down a little bit. You just need to have awareness. You need to learn who you are, what it takes to get you in the right frame of mind to get and play at your optimal level.
Yeah, and I think if I can go back in time, it would be to look at the mental preparation at the same level of practicing as you would working on your swing. We don't keep it at the same level. If I can go back in time, I would work on that better, of letting go of all the garbage that's in your life at that time or whatever that kind of brings you down, and working on as soon as you cross into that gate, you're leaving it behind. And obviously you're going to have good days and bad days, but to know that is something you're practicing on. It's not just an afterthought. I feel like the mental preparation, just that conversation, is always an afterthought. No one looks at it as at the same level of working on your speed or working on your arm velocity. It is the same level, and I think when you do that, you can actually make some gains.
And here's the cool thing about that too, is that we are actually in a little bit of a play when we're out there anyways, right? We're all playing a role. It's not real life, right? It's a game. It's a fantasy. Like, it's, you can choose to be who you want to be on the field within
You're on stage.
boundaries. You're on stage, right? So if you want to go out there and be Mr. Tough Guy, well, you can. Go ahead. But as soon as you walk off and you go home and you try that with your mom at home, guess what? It's not going to work. Like, you got to find a way to play the role that you need to play while you're playing the game, the one that you want to play. And then when you're away from the field, you're just plain old Ben. Yep. You're not like the superstar, whatever, anything anymore. Like, you're just like everybody else, and you need to realize that, even though people are judging you based on what they see you do on a baseball field, and they're maybe treating you better because you're playing good or worse because you're not, you have to keep that within the lines. That's been the toughest thing my entire career that I would love for kids to understand at a young age, is how to walk into that field, take the mindset and everything you need to do in that moment, but then when you walk away, be the same guy you were before you stepped on the field.
Yeah, I mean, if I could go back in time, I'd do a lot of stuff. Probably invest in Apple or something like that.
Bitcoin.
But if I could go back and talk to my younger self, I would tell him to embrace everything about baseball, not just the game. I felt like I could roll out of bed and play baseball in a game. That's what I felt like. Some people are just built that way. I functioned that way. I would just show up and let's do this. I was prepared, but all I wanted to do is play a game. And there's got to be people out there that just love playing in the game. As I've gotten older, I love the practices. I love being at the field. I embrace when a guy comes up and goes, "Man, I hate shagging for BP," I'm just like, there you go. I'm going to slap you in the face. Like, you got to get to a point where you love taking ground balls. You love taking fly balls. And I was terrible at fly balls. As a catcher growing up, it was very difficult for me to throw the mask off, all that. And I didn't really like practice. I didn't. I just wanted to show up and play. Show and go.
Could you really love stretching, though?
Yeah, stretching, I didn't have to stretch. Look how gangly I am.
Right. But now you're like,
we did a stretch where we got in a circle and like we go, down on the right leg, we'd stretch and then we clap. And then somebody'd run around the circle and clap. I was like, what are we doing? Like, there's no rhyme or reason to what we're doing. Nobody ever asked, hey, why are we doing this? Well, the last class did it, so you're going to do it. All right, great. I just wanted to play a game. So I think to really just embrace every aspect of it. If you're running sprints, run good sprints. It's going to make you better. If you're running poles or whatever it is, I just embrace the game and love it.
Don't go through the motions.
Yeah.
That's a great final word, Tim.
I should have just said, don't go through the motions.
Enjoy. Embrace it.
Embrace it. It's part of it.
Well said, Tim.
No one's ever said that to me.
I think that's a wrap, boys.
Nice.
Well, that does it for Show and Go. If you have any questions or comments, topics you'd like to hear discussed on future broadcasts, feel free to interact with us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at The Show and Go. Make sure to follow us for links to the podcast, pictures, videos, special offers, and I don't know, just interact with some of these fools. We'd love to hear feedback and questions. I'd like to thank the boys of the Theocast podcast for letting us use their equipment today and every day until we stop. On behalf of myself, Zoe, Jay Money, and Coach, thanks for listening, and join us next time on The Show and Go. That was cheesy.
I thought that was good. What do you guys think?
That was good. It was short. Like, honestly, it was really only because we bantered for a little bit. That was probably 35 to 40 minutes.
Yeah, that was better.
We'll probably
That was time.
We'll probably knock out a couple of minutes.
turn those over.
But I would like to still be able to discuss that much.